Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
What's going on, Steve?
Not much, Ben. It's the ending of quite a few things this week.
Yeah,
Uh
very sad.
yeah, Last of Us, we just finished seconds ago.
And in the news of Wheel of Time not coming back,
Real bummer.
it sucks. It's right when it's getting to
Getting its
the
sea
good
legs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Give it one more. Like I said last time when we were talking about it, give it one more. Let it wrap up. Cut all the bullshit just to have your final throwdown, just to have it done. So then you can release a set of Wheel of Time, the complete series. No one's going to buy this anymore, HBO.
Yeah.
Not that people are buying
I
physical
guess they
media
could, but
anyways.
yeah. It'd be pretty interesting to see how they wrap up the next 10 books in one season.
You just cut it all out. You just rewrite it. He's got the power now. The bad guy shows up and he kills him. And the world moves on.
And the wheel keeps on turning.
Yep. So our main topic today is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Another thing that could possibly be
done.
End.
Yeah.
Supposedly so.
Well, let's start with a roll.
16.
I can't see shit.
17.
Oh.
All right.
Well, I won.
Congratulations, Ben. You got one more point ahead of me today.
I saw Friendship. The not Craig Robinson, Jesus. Tim Robinson's new comedy. We talked before about I Think You Should Leave, and it's probably not your bag because it's very cringy.
I do not like cringe.
But there is legitimately funny things. Like his weirdo sense of humor is really great. You have to be okay with a guy yelling at the top of his lungs, fuck a bunch. That's a big part of his comedy. But all in all, most of the stuff I've seen of him is very funny. Detroiters, hilarious show. This was all right. Kind of a disappointing thing. I thought maybe it would go harder with how weird and awkward he is. It's not as embarrassing as I've seen him, and there are tons of opportunities for him to really stick his foot in his mouth. Yeah, it's fine. I'll give it like a C plus because I did have some chuckles in it. But all in all, uh, people were saying like saw it with a packed crowd. Everyone was laughing their ass off. I also had a packed crowd. There were chuckles here and there. But I just think it needs maybe there's a lot of setup for things that do pay off, but in the smallest of ways. And it just feels like they could have, I want to say I don't want to say tighten up the script, but just kind of make these things work a little bit better. Yeah, and then when you watch him be an idiot, and then Kate Mara is his wife, and like, how did he ever win you in the first place? Like, they have a 16-year-old son together. They've had a life. It's not like they're newly married. It's like, did it get worse? Was he better? When he was younger. I don't know, but kind of a big disappointment. I was really thinking this was gonna be like one of the funnier things of the year.
Was Paul Rudd good? Like,
Yeah,
was
he's
he?
good.
Like, I know that from the trailer, at least, it's like Tim Robinson's character, like, doesn't have like a ton of friends or any friends
Yeah,
at all,
no
and then
friends
like
at all.
makes a friend with Paul Rudd,
But he's too much of a weirdo.
but then too much of a weirdo, and they stop being friends or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, but was it one of those things where Paul Rudd was kind of an asshole, or was just like he was actually a decent human being?
Pretty cool dude. He seemed genuine with all of his interactions up to that point. But then there's just one day where he's, Craig Robinson's or Tim Robinson's feeling a little more comfortable and just kind of like lets things slip, and everybody just instantly kind of backs off from him. So there isn't this escalation of like, well, that guy's weird. But he's my new neighbor. I gotta invite him a second time. It's like, no, you're weird. Get the fuck out of our face. And he just can't handle it. And I think he could have gone way more manic. And people were saying this is almost like a horror film, and some of the music and shot composition reflects that, but I thought he was gonna like off the deep end
Yeah, yeah.
craziness, and he gets to a kind of a point, but it's more for laughs than like a scary person losing
Yeah.
it. But yeah, it's a watch at home once it's streaming, which will probably be in a week. But apparently this had one of the biggest openings for like an independent movie. Like it made a good amount of money for how few theaters it had in the beginning. So
Wow.
we'll
Good for
see.
them.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the power of Paul Rudd or just people looking
I
for
think
a
people
weirdo
like Tim
comedy or
Tim Robinson. He's
I mean
he's
that's
got
good
his
for him,
following.
I guess.
Yeah. All right, you go.
All right. I'll just you're pretty much all done except for
No, I got one more
oh, you
thing
got one
that
more
I'm
thing?
actually excited to talk about.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna throw out um, all my stuff. Um,
Jesus.
so finished season 1 of The Studio.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And oh yeah, I finished that as well.
Uh, I really enjoyed this season.
Yeah,
Yeah, I enjoyed the how they directed the episodes. A lot of long takes were really fun.
there's a lot of long
A
takes and
lot
a
of
lot of
high
episodes.
energy. I really enjoyed the cast and like
Mm-hmm.
everything they bring to the
Catherine
table.
Hahn is just perfect in
Yeah,
everything.
so
She's
good. Ike Barinholtz is crushing it this
yeah, like
season.
I'm of all the people that come out of Mad TV, I'm surprised like his career has really stuck around. Like he had his role in Neighbors,
Hmm.
and I just seem like he's never really gone away. Where some of the other people
Sure.
maybe just went the podcast route, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So it's
Take
nice.
that, Bobby Lee.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
How'd you know who I was talking about?
no, but yeah, I mean, I really impressed. I enjoy anything about like the process of making movies and
Yeah.
to see like, oh, the people at the top, like how would they handle these situations,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing Seth Rogen be such like a I need everyone to like me and like really want to make good movies, but also like I guess I got to make the Kool-Aid movie and stuff like that.
He
Oh,
grew on me a lot,
mhm.
but those first few episodes when he's like fucking up the one take,
Oh,
is like
awful.
get the fuck out of here, dude. Like it was not that I would stop watching the show,
Hmm.
but he was not winning me over as a character. But then the episode you brought up, I think maybe it was off air when we were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. Uh, he's dating a doctor, and all the people are saying like, "Well, you don't cure cancer like us, so you're not as important." That's when he started winning me over
Yeah,
because he had
yeah, yeah.
really good points. Yes, he's being an asshole about it, but if they weren't so rude, he would look like the complete
Oh,
asshole.
of
But
course.
they're such shitheads about it that like you really side with him, and then I kind of forgive him for being kind of like a wuss. But like that third episode when they're like, just tell Ron Howard the
Hmm.
note, and he's like, well, I can't do it. And like, you are such a fucking pussy. It was pissing me off, but I like
But
that
yeah,
he kind of got his, revenge almost.
yeah, I mean, I if it was just like, oh, I'm too nervous to have someone dislike me, I'd have been like, that's kind of annoying. But to have like a backstory as to like why he would give
Yeah,
that note, I think added to the character.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I thought every episode was tons of fun. I really liked this world. I liked all the celebrity cameos.
And they
And
really like commit. Like Dave Franco, he's really fucking annoying in those last episodes.
yeah, Dave Franco's one of those actors. Like I don't dislike him, but he plays like a lot of really annoying,
Oh yeah,
and it's just like I think his voice
his voice and those
and
teeth.
yeah.
He acts through his teeth. He doesn't like move his lips. But it was
But I like
funny.
him. It's
Yeah, him
just
doing the narration of the last episode, like doing the recap, and they're like, and I won a bunch of money from those magic movies. I don't know, it cracking me up.
yeah. Well, anyway, I'm so if and when season 2 comes around, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I'd stick around with this crew and see what other kind of wacky
Mm-hmm.
movies come out. And it's not often you get a TV show to get Martin Scorsese to like cameo and act in,
Yeah.
so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Shout out to the Scorsese. All right. Uh, so Studio B plus,
Yeah. Thumbs up for me.
thumbs up. I finished a book, book 3 in the Boodsworn saga of the
Okay.
Vikings.
Is it the last book?
It's the last book, so I can
Okay.
stop talking about it. But I'd say it's probably the book I liked the least of the 3.
It seems to be the pattern with all these trilogies that you read. It's
I mean,
always so the second book like really expands on stuff and it's really great, and then the third book always just sucks.
it's just like so. The third book, it was kind of like a lot of build up and moving the pieces together and like building to this like climactic ultimate battle, which I knew was going to be big, considering the fact that there's like gods are walking among us, and they're massive, and there's like all these different monsters and human, like all these people are just like in this huge, massive battle for the fate of this land, and it's like the last third of the book. It's like 200 plus pages of just
Wow.
like the battle.
Okay.
And like there's breaks and moments where like okay, we're the battle stopped for now. We're recouping and like people can have dialogue and stuff. But it's just like it just keeps going. I'm like Jesus Christ, when this battle's gonna end? It's like getting close to the end of the book. I'm like, how are they gonna fucking wrap this up? Because there's even a moment where like something major happens and you're like okay, there's like 50 pages left in this book, like how are they gonna deal with it, and then like another chapter or two later it's dealt with, and it's like it was actually kind of written off really easy.
Okay.
My only major complaint, which like it's not that I hated it or anything, it just kind of felt like how did all these it was just like a lot of coincidences back to back to back to back, because you're getting 5 different viewpoint characters and it's just like basically they all want revenge. That's pretty much all their different plots. And it's like in this chapter, this person gets their revenge. In this plot, in this chapter, the next chapter, oh, here's this character, they get their revenge. It's like everyone's meeting up on the battlefield, like seemingly at the same time, with
Okay.
the people they need in the army of like near the end. Obviously, like most of the armies have been wiped out or whatever, so like there's less. You can start seeing people
Yeah.
that you're looking for, but like they all happen to survive till near the end, and they all fight who they need to fight till the end. Uh, and then, but the book ends very sweetly, and I like how it ended. So like all in all, I really enjoyed the series. If you love action-packed Viking stories with like big monsters and in a fantasy world and gods and stuff, it's all really really cool. Book 3 is just, if the first 2 were like B pluses, A minus, or whatever. Book 3, I would say, is just a B.
Okay.
Worth it. Check out the series, but little disappointed in just how like I don't want to say handholdy it is. Just how it wrapped.
I was trying to hold it until you were done.
But yeah, it was good. Really enjoyed my time. And I'll bore you with another book in another week.
I'm
or
reading
two.
a book.
Oh,
I'm not done with it though.
I listened to a new podcast as a recommendation from a buddy of mine. It's called What Went Wrong, and it's 2 people, and they're talking about like the making. Like every episode is a different movie, and they talk about the process of that making that movie and like things that went wrong on set or in the trying to get it made and wasn't getting picked up or whatever. And they have a bunch of different episodes. They have a 3-part Lord of the Rings one, which was like really fun, and most of the information like I knew already, but there was some new stuff that I didn't. And they even had one that I listened to was Zach Braff came on and talked about like him making Garden State, which was a fun episode.
And is it about like the failures that are happening?
So not necessarily, but because anyone who's worked on a film set or like a director, like one of the things that Zach Braff talked about is like if you're a director, no one's ever coming to you with good news. It's just here's another problem. How do we fix it? Yeah. So every production is just riddled with like, how do we fix this new issue that we have? Like I listened to one about Raiders of the Lost Ark, and like they had like 4,000 or like 2,000 snakes in that pit, and Spielberg was like, it's not enough. So they flew in 4,500 more snakes from like Denmark because it's like the closest sanctuary to the desert wherever they were shooting or whatever, and
Jesus.
just like the amount of crazy workarounds they were doing, or like the entire crew got dysentery except for Spielberg because all he did was eat SpaghettiOs that he brought from home. It's just like it's a lot of these weird little like fun facts that you could probably like find on IMDb. Okay. But my favorite one was when I was listening to Lord of the Rings. There was one where like a bunch of the cast and crew were in one van, and Sean Bean and Orlando Bloom were like in another car, and they were driving to a location, but it was like pouring down rain, and they got like separated in the rain. It's like they couldn't see Sean Bean and Orlando Bloom, and like they got to set and they never showed up, and they're like, what the fuck happened? So there was like 2 mudslides that like came in front of them and behind them, so they like were trapped. Like the road, they were trapped on the road, so they couldn't like get to set. and the only thing that they could see in the pouring rain was like one house in the distance. Like that's perfect setup for a horror movie.
Uh-huh.
And they go to this house, and it's a sweet old lady who offers them tea, and they just live with her for 4 days until like they could clear out the roads or whatever.
Wow.
Uh, so
That's
just like,
great. I'm surprised I haven't heard that story.
yeah, I hadn't heard it too.
So it's probably bullshit.
Well, he said this was all from most of his information he got was from this book. I forget the name of the book, but it was like someone who was on set and like just kind of like got all these stories and put it together, and they were a journalist or something too, who were just like kind of journaling the story of the movie. Anywho, but basically a lot of the things that in the making of that movie was just like New Zealand was just so happy to like help with this
Yeah.
production. Like the entire country really like came together.
Hmm.
Anytime they needed anything, New Zealand or New Zealand people were just like, yeah, we'll help you out, no
But
problem.
didn't it also kind of hurt their economy? Like it was such a boom because they employed so many, but then as soon as the movie was done, there was this huge recession.
That didn't necessarily come up in terms of like the jobs for New Zealanders.
Okay.
But what did come up was, well, after the release of these movies, New Zealand's economy grew exponentially from tourism.
Hmm.
So maybe like there wasn't a lot of film work at the time, but you know, Weta was like four people in an office, and then obviously like now it's like the premier like
Hmm.
visual and special effects, but one of them in like the world, who now employ a ton of people. And just like it was really cool hearing all the different stories. And some most like I said, most I knew, some I didn't. So if you're into movies and like the making of them, and want more like inside scoop on like how, you know, these directors or producers or actors or whoever like managed to make this thing, and if one scene was supposed to be shot one way and turns out like, well, this problem caused it to shift and now that scene's iconic because
Hmm.
the original plan couldn't happen because of some, you know, act of God or something
Hmm.
like that. And it's really fun to go like, oh, I want, if you want to make a movie and it's like, oh, I have this great idea. None of your ideas will ever work out how you want them to.
Yeah.
And you just pray to God, you just get enough money to make it to the end.
Hmm.
So it's a good, it should be inspiring for filmmakers to sort of like, you know what, whatever happens, happens. I'm just going to do my best. Anywho,
What was that the podcast called?
the podcast is called What Went Wrong.
Well,
And my last thing, I read a comic book called Black Badge. It's 12 issues. There was three compendiums that I borrowed from, or three volumes, not compendiums, three volumes that I borrowed from my local library. And basically it is, what if there was a secret subsect of Boy Scouts that are used by the government for like spy missions, essentially. Uh, and it's 12 issues, complete story. And so you have this ragtag group of kids who were all like orphans and, you know, joined the Boy Scouts, and they did so well that they like pushed them into like, oh, there's a secret badge that no one knows about. And basically they become agents of the government and find out like, oh, maybe someone who we're working for isn't, like, something's off, and maybe we're not the good guys in the scenario, because now there's like a evil Boy Scout group. I forget what their name was. The Honor Society,
okay.
which I was like, that's a cool name. And you find out, oh wait, maybe they're not so bad. And there's one part where they're like on an island for like I forget what it's called, like the jamboree or something like that,
Okay.
where it's four different Boy Scout troops like against each other in sort of like a Hunger Games style thing, but they're not supposed to kill. They're not allowed to kill each other,
Hmm.
but whoever wins gets like a week off of work and like the honor of like being the best of the four. And there's like one girl group. There's
Are
like
they an offshoot of the Girl Scouts?
uh, kinda, I
Okay.
guess. I'm just saying Boy Scouts because that's kind of like what they're
Okay.
pitching it as, but
Yeah. They don't use the term Boy Scouts.
I don't think so.
Okay.
There's like one group that's like, oh, we're the tech guys, and then another group was like, oh, we're the ones. It's like, oh, if you want like stealth missions, we're like the crew that we follow. They're like the demolition team.
Okay.
Like we go there and blow shit up or whatever, call stuff in. But obviously they're all pretty good at their jobs because like no one suspects kids to, you know, be like dropping bombs on us and stuff. But yeah, it's a real quick, easy read. It's not like the deepest story you're ever going to see. There's some cliches in it, but it's like a fun idea, and it would be super easy to turn into a movie. for like young breakout talent or whatever. It could be like a fun action movie. I think you could probably do it like PG-13 because you could go R, but it's not like it's violent, but it's not like so violent. But there's some cool stuff in there. So if you want a nice, fun, cool read, check out Black Badge.
Sounds cool. I saw a movie last week. We recorded early last week, and then so the following day, I watched a movie with my roommate, and I was so pissed I didn't get to like watch it the day before because I wanted to talk to you specifically about it because I know how much you love gross and horror things.
Oh God.
The movie's called The Ugly Stepsister. It's a Norwegian movie written and directed by Emily Blechfeld. I think that's how, or Blitchfield. And it's the Cinderella story, but told through the eyes of one of the ugly stepsisters. One of them's a little bit older than the other one, so it focuses on her instead of the pair. Her name's Elvira.
So are they like actually ugly, or
No,
is it like they're
absolutely not. They're beautiful.
Okay.
Watching it. It was so funny because it's all about really your value as a woman in this time is to just find a man. And if you're the lucky one to get the prince, well, then that's awesome. But there's other rich guys out there too, and this is all that's important. Um, and they show her and like, oh, look how hideous she is, and she's adorable. It's just like she has this really dumb haircut with like these big curls. And like, well, that's your fucking fashion. She looks
She's
ugly
got paint on her overalls.
there's a part where they talk about like how fat you are, and they show it, and me and my roommate are just looking at each other like, yeah, she's disgusting. She's just like a normal sized woman who's actually quite cute, big eyes. Imagine kind of like a Gilly from Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
Big eyes, silly teeth. She has braces, and like, oh, we got to get rid of that. But it's the same sort of story. Their mom marries Cinderella's dad. He dies. They take over all the money, but actually both families are kind of poor, and they're putting all the last of their money into the ugly stepsister to put her through like finishing school and get surgical procedures done to make her more beautiful because the prince is having a thing in 4 months, and to find his true love. And the prince is this poet, writes all these like really lovely things that girls just swoon over, and Elvira's just been obsessed with him. So yeah, they take off her braces and they give her a nose job, and it's like chisel to the nose. Ugh. And she's just like there's no anesthesia. They're just doing it, and she has to wear this like little metal thing over it while she's going through school. And there's 2 parts of this that you gotta see to believe, but I'm just gonna spoil it because they were horrifying to watch. And I gotta say, this movie is really beautifully shot. Not a lot of dialogue, very soft focus, just almost a fantasy kind of look without fairies or anything like that. Oh yeah, and Cinderella gets in trouble. Why she becomes like the maid is she doesn't really care about the prince and the true love because he's looking for a virgin, and she's been fucking the farmhand this whole time. And so they're like, oh, you are a dirty little skank, and now you are our slave. Which also, gotta say, very graphic with the nudity. Like, penises and vaginas shown willy-nilly. Very surprised.
Saying penises being shown willy-nilly.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah. Okay, so here's some things that she has to go through. After they do the nose job, they're like, oh, we have these eyelashes, fake eyelashes, but they don't like glue them like we do. They sew them to their eyelids, and they show it. It looks like someone is getting eyelashes sewn to their actual eyelids. It was disgusting. It was so hard to watch. I'm like through fingers just to get the gist of it. It was awful.
Oh man.
And it just goes on and on and on. And then the worst one. I will show you this because you just kind of have to see it.
I don't know if I want to.
Tough
my
titties.
My butt is already puckered.
This one's just like more gross than painful. But so she has this little jewel and there's tapeworm eggs in it. She's like, I'm going to take it and I'm going to get all skinny. And then when I get to a certain point, I'll take the antidote and I'll be fine. And her younger sister, who, she's too
Oh, they pull
young.
the tapeworm out?
Like she's too young to go after the prince and stuff. She hasn't had her period yet. And she's
Hmm.
more interested in being a farmhand anyways. But, so Elvira has done the dance. She looks beautiful. Everything worked out. She's skinny now, great hair, makeup. The prince likes her, and then here comes fucking Cinderella coming in and ruining the day and steals her away. So she's like heartbroken, and she needs this tapeworm out. It's like you could see it wiggling
Oh my
underneath.
God.
And so she opens her mouth and it's sticking out and they're pulling on it and there's even a part where like it tugs a little and then it all just spills out of her mouth. It's so
I don't
gross.
know if I want to watch this. I hate you. Uh, Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, I know you're more of a cute person than a hot person, but would you say
Uh-huh.
that she, like, after all the things, she looked better?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like her dress, I think is ugly. Her hair's ugly, but that's just like the time period. Um, but yeah, she definitely. And if you look up the actress, she's adorable. Because I showed like everybody at work the next day.
And what they all say?
They were like, "This is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen." I mean, they even like they have to do the toe chopping because the slipper doesn't fit,
Uh-huh.
and so she like has a butcher knife on it and is just like whacking it with wood, and then the toes are just like dangling off, and the mom's like, "Oh, honey, hold on, let me help you," and then she realizes, "Oh, honey, you did the wrong foot. The prince has the left shoe," and then they have to do it to the other side. Where the fuck did this go? I wonder if it got deleted because it was too nasty.
Oh, well, look, what was it? YouTube?
TikTok.
Oh.
I'm not gonna play it on here. I'll
Yeah.
cut this all out. But
God, I'm retreating into it.
yeah, and like so her toes are chopped. They pulled that out. She falls down the stairs and breaks her nose that she just got fixed and misses a tooth. And so she's like this golem creature crawling to the door to get the prince. It's really sad, but horrifyingly disgusting. But a really good movie, like well made movie.
Well, just another reason I'm glad to be a man.
All right, let's get to Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
Yes,
Yes.
we're not gonna skip it this time.
Nope, the season is over.
And we have the last two episodes we can talk about. We didn't talk about Recapapalooza.
Yeah, so I guess let's talk about the last two, and then we'll just give our overall thoughts
Sure.
on the
Episode
season.
6, the flashback episode.
Yeah, called
But
The Price.
I liked that this was, every year on her birthday.
Mhm.
We got to see a little bit. I know people don't like this episode because the final thing of the game is here and not
Mhm.
at the very end of the show. I think it works.
I think it does too.
You're putting all the flashbacks together, and it's showing Ellie figuring out what Joel was all about and how he lied, and I think it just fits perfectly.
Yeah.
There.
I mean, you're getting these scenes like sporadically or not these scenes from this episode. There's like 3 from the game, and then everything else is kind of made up for the show.
We get to see Eugene.
We get to see Eugene, Joey Pants.
Yep.
But anyway, you get to see these scenes sporadically throughout the game, and they're just like, well, we're just gonna put them all in this episode, and I think it works because mainly, Joel was like the star of season 1, and he's, in a sense, like kind of the heart of the show. I think they both are. But now we've been missing him for 4 episodes now at this point, and you really don't get a ton of time with him in episode 2, really. So now we've missed him for so long, just to have him back, and like it's all this sort of like sweet stuff at the front half of the episode, and it's like, oh, isn't this nice? Like, I miss this guy, and then the back half of the episode, you're like, fuck, this episode's bumming me out.
Yeah.
But I really like this episode. I liked him playing the guitar for her, classic scene. I liked, obviously, the astronaut scene is an iconic moment in the game, and I think it worked really well. Just like him doing the single tear out the side that you can like barely see because
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I'm being such a good dad right
Yeah,
now.
I'm fucking
I
killing
kill you.
it. I
Because
still want to know how we got a recording of a space shuttle launch
yeah,
onto
like
a
where would you
cassette
even
tape.
begin to find
I
that?
don't know.
Like, I mean, I like the idea. Well, we'll talk about it, I guess. But in the last episode, there's this like, oh, people come through town
Yeah,
and we trade, and then they move on to the
sure. But
thing.
who
But
would
like,
even keep that?
it's like, is that what happened? Or it's like, oh, I heard that there was a record store that specialized in space or like weird,
Yeah,
and then he like traveled like, oh, Ellie, I'm gonna be gone for a month because I have to go 4 states over to get you this cassette tape. I
yeah.
don't know.
I would imagine it's someone who survived, who lived in a library, and they had like, we got to protect the books because that's all of our history and everything.
Hmm.
They have a small generator and they're able to get into their like Encyclopedia Britannica CD-ROMs that they could put in the computer,
Hmm.
and he just had to hold a tape recorder up to it, something like that. But I always found that kind of weird, a taping of a rocket ship launch.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I bet at the time, like they recorded everything like that, and
oh,
just
sure.
you never think about it because we've been past cassette tapes for a long time.
Hmm.
Uh, and did you see that they actually built all the like the dinosaurs and stuff, and you just don't see it in the episode?
Really?
Yeah. Um,
Damn.
yeah, so like they built like the whole thing, and just
Hmm.
I don't know if I can't remember if they said if they shot stuff in there and they decided to cut it
Yeah,
because like, there probably was gonna be a moment where Ellie walks by with picks up a hat, puts it on, and
sure. Or the dinosaur already has a hat and she just laughs at it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I get it,
It's not
but
necessary.
it's not necessary because it's the part of the game that I want to get through as quick as humanly possible. So it's a touching, good moment, but since I've already felt my feelings
Yeah,
playing the game,
fair enough.
let's fucking
Let me get back to killing people and
yeah.
monsters. Um, but what's obviously like the one of the big changes is how Ellie and Joel like Joel tells Ellie like
Hmm.
what happens.
Yeah. She just
Because
puts it together on
yeah,
her own.
yeah, which would like the show is established like she's kind of like questioning things as
Yeah, I like her sitting there reading off like the question she wants to
mhm,
ask him, and it's like, yeah, she's been pondering on this for years now.
yeah. Um, so like she's already kind of figured out. She just needs like one last piece of like
Yeah,
proof to really sit her over the edge. But in the game, it's just she's like, "Hey, this thing's been bothering me. Let's talk about it." And then if you
she
lie to me,
she finds a tape recorder in the hospital when because they go back there,
uh
and she finds a little tape of who is the woman that
Marlene,
yeah, of her kind of spilling it out. So she doesn't even like get it from Joel. She knows pretty much what happened, and then he tells her.
yeah. But in this, it's he promises not to kill Eugene, and then does, and because of the way he like lies to
Mm-hmm.
Eugene's
Said I
wife,
promise, and
yeah.
yeah.
She's like, "Oh, I see the face you made when you lied to her is the same face you made when you lied
Yeah.
to me." And I think it works.
Mm-hmm.
It. Uh,
And then the porch scene is our for your consideration Emmy moment.
they're both
Killing
great
it.
in that scene. Like,
Yeah.
say what you will about the season if you're one of the Last of Us haters, these two are so good at acting. Like,
Yep.
I think Bella Ramsey is crushing it this season,
Mm-hmm.
and Pedro Pascal, with the little bit of time he had on screen this season, every
Yeah.
scene he's just like so good in.
Mm-hmm.
But this was obviously like the big scene in the episode and the biggest surprise of the episode because, like you said earlier, this is the pretty much the last scene of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's talk that there's going to be more conversation in like this wasn't the end of the conversation.
Okay.
There was maybe more to it, but
It's like this is the day before he dies. How much more can you add?
yeah, because like in the game, you're never quite sure why. Like you get to final confrontation, something happens, and you see like a really quick flash of the porch and
Mm-hmm.
Joel sitting there, and you're like, "What's that about?"
Yeah.
And then you get the context of the end, and you're like, "Okay, this conversation is why Ellie makes the choice she does at the end of the game."
Mm-hmm.
But so now that you have it here, like where does the show go? Like what's the ending point? Like do we get another flashback of something that's like just for the show? Are they not going to do a flashback at all?
Well, and
Um,
there's also talk that there may be a season 4.
yeah,
That I don't need Santa Barbara as its own season if that's what they're doing, or if is it because I can't see them not ending the next season exactly where the game ends. Like you could cut out all the or at least most of the Santa Barbara stuff and
Hmm.
just do the Abby Lev Seraphite war, and then a little bit of the Santa Barbara. I don't like you could do Abby's story in 7 episodes.
Yeah.
So what else are we doing? And you said you're not going to do anything outside of the game. So what the fuck? I would have rather you put that time into this season so we could have had more Ellie, kicking ass and taking out guys, more big set pieces
Hmm.
from the game. I don't think there's much we need to add to that back end.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, you never expected to spend 3 episodes in Jackson when in the game
Yeah, true.
it's like 3% of the game, too
Mm-hmm.
less. But that's not a complaint I have. It's just a complaint I know people have. It's like, wow, they really drug out the Jackson storyline. But I liked all the stuff they did in
Yeah.
Jackson. I liked Seth as a character. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed like what they did with him and like giving Jesse and Tommy and Maria like more to do. It's like
Having the
they're
city
building,
council.
yeah, like they're building important characters and establishing like why you should care about them because you didn't really get a chance to do that in season one because
Yeah.
it was only Joel and Ellie and arguably the a little bit of the kid and his little
And his
brother.
brother,
I
yeah.
forget their names,
Yeah.
but anywho, but they were only in
One
essentially
episode.
one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anywho, so yeah, really like that episode. We got to see some of the stuff that they did add was like in the game they mentioned, oh, Ellie dated that one girl. She got that girl gave her the tattoo. We kind of
Yeah.
saw that moment
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
happen, and Joel finding out like, oh, Ellie doesn't like boys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I saw some, and I hate that I go online and see what people say, and I think some people were a little bit upset, like. Did they just establish Joel as like kind of a homophobe? And I don't.
I
That's not
didn't
what I
feel that at
got. Like
all.
I think he was a little taken aback, and like obviously, like in this world, especially since the apocalypse happened in 2003, like they haven't gotten a chance to sort of like Dharma and Greg was on the air for like 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of gay representation, and everyone's sure what
Dharma
this.
and Greg wasn't a gay show. You're thinking of Will and
Will and Grace, I'm
Grace.
sorry.
And Will and Grace was on for many years.
Hey, if you watch Dharma and Greg, you're like, this show's pretty gay. No, sorry, Will and Grace, you're right. But it was just like he didn't. I don't.
No,
He's not. He's not homophobe. It's just like, hey, you're not like he's because he's like, oh, you're not yourself. Like, what are you doing with all this? Like, I think it's okay to give him a moment to sort of adjust, seeing like
yeah.
this shocking thing, but then goes back in like the same night, like, hey, kiddo, like, let me,
Let me check out the tattoo.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, put your bed back in here. You're not
Yeah.
moving into the garage yet, and just like, it's you're getting all the teen angst and stuff, and you're getting all the same time in the apocalypse. Like, it's okay that he's like not immediately like, oh, good for you. You should
Mm-hmm.
go down on her immediately. I'm an ally. Like, he wouldn't
Yeah.
say any of that shit.
No.
Um,
Yeah, if it was a dude in that room giving her a tattoo and her making out with him, he would have acted the same way
yeah.
because it's been years now that they have a good thing. He's finally got a daughter he can care about. And then this is just like a huge, thing. I don't know what's the phrase on that. Uh, wrench in the cog.
Yeah,
Yeah, wrench.
wrench in the machine. Gummed up the works,
Yeah.
whatever. Uh, yeah, I think a lot of people have this idea of Joel. Like Joel is our hero. He
Mm-hmm.
can do no wrong, despite him being like a blatant murderer and former raider and like smuggler. Like he was not a good person for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. So the fact that he was just like, wow, it's pretty fucked up that they made Joel like anywhere like the idea of homophobia. It's like that's
That's
not what they're
not.
going for.
Yeah.
And that's what really
Yeah. If he was
annoyed me.
throwing out and saying like calling her a dyke or something, that's one thing. But he didn't make any mention of like, and with a girl, Jesus isn't gonna
Not
like
in this
that.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but all in all, really enjoyed that episode.
Yep.
I'm interested to see how the show goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
With like you taking out that scene from the end,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it will work regardless either way.
Yeah.
Anywho, season finale. Uh, Ellie keeps going to look for Abby. Dina has to get an arrow through the rest of her leg,
Ooh.
which fucking sucks.
Yeah.
We get a lot more Jesse in this episode, and I really like Jesse in this
Yeah.
episode. I think he really like stood out and seemed like a real cool guy, like good person, like
Hmm.
that Joel in every way except not a monster.
Yep.
It's like he's as capable, arguably, as Joel, but he cares about other people and like wants good for everything.
Yep.
And you can make that argument like, oh, Joel's the carpenter of the town and stuff. It's like, yeah, he had the opportunity to like relax now and stuff,
Hmm.
but like Jesse's just good from the get go. He's just a good person who's willing to like, I'll only kill people I need to.
Hmm.
I have no interest in like just seeking revenge and all that stuff. We finally see Tommy for
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed seeing all the like little snippets of like, oh, we're gonna get this scene next season, and we're gonna
Hmm.
get this scene next season, and like the tease of the crane in the
Yeah.
background. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff of just like, if you play the game, you know what's happening, and if you don't play the game, you're like, oh, you wouldn't think anything of it. But like, there's all these little clues there. Really great stuff. Um, I wasn't sure if we were gonna get the Owen
Mel.
and Mel death. I thought, oh, maybe they'll push that back till next season. I was wrong. But that scene was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and different.
Yeah, I mean, it was fucked up in the game too, but
Yeah.
I think they made a good change.
Yeah, because
I liked it.
in the game, you stab Mel, but Mel is also attacking you,
Mhm.
and you just get the knife on her. So even though you're killing a pregnant woman, you can justify it in your head. Well, she came at me, and I was
Mhm.
defending myself. This way, it was complete accident
Mhm.
with the bullet grazing her neck. A nice, fun, different way to take it because I like that Mel is like, yeah, I'm about to die. I know this. Save my fucking baby.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we would get a stab in, but I'm glad like she just couldn't
Yeah.
even attempt.
Uh, which like I can't remember in the close up if you actually do see it, but just the idea of like, okay, she's dying or she's dead and she's about to die and wants her to cut the baby out and save the baby, but like once she is dead, there's still like
A
an
living
alive
thing, yeah.
baby in there that is just
Suffocating.
going to suffocate and die, and
Yep.
it's so fucking morbid.
Yeah.
Which I guess in the game it would be the same thing too,
It would be,
but
yeah.
it was just kind of like in the game it was very quick of just you didn't know she was pregnant, she popped it off and she's like fuck, she throws up and then cut to black. Where this like kind of really lingered, I think for a while. It made me feel icky inside.
Like, what if you did try to attempt and then Jesse and them show up and she's like just elbow deep in some woman's guts trying to pull out a baby?
Or well, obviously I think Jesse and Tommy show up like probably an hour or two later. Who knows how long? I don't think it was like immediate. I could be wrong.
Are you saying in the game or in the show?
In the show.
Did they not show him run in?
They show him run in, but
we don't know.
We don't know how long she's been sitting there.
I assumed it was relatively.
It was probably
quick,
relatively quick, but like I'd imagine it'd be even scarier. Like she did do it, pull it out, and she's like, now she doesn't know what to do. Like she can't breastfeed it. There's no like supplies. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like would she be holding a dead baby in her hands when Tommy and Jesse get there?
Maybe.
Or would it be like, would Jesse and Tommy get there and be like, leave it?
Yeah.
There's nothing we can
Jesse
do.
Jesse wouldn't say leave it, especially being a new father.
Yeah, well, I think I'm glad that they didn't do it. I'm just saying, like, if that scene happened, I'd be interested to see like how it would play out, because it's like obviously one's a dad, one's about to be a dad, one has lost their dad, and like has this like instinct to take care of like the injustice of it, and then they just all go like, there's literally nothing we can do. Like we're gonna wrap this kid up, but it's like storming, it's cold, we have no way to keep this kid alive.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do if the thing is alive? Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
So they did the right
better
thing.
Just leave it in the belly and walk away.
They 100% did the right thing.
It's the equivalent of like when you think you ran over something
Mhm.
and like, oh, I think it may have ran off. Should I stop the car and check?
Yeah.
No, it's probably dead. Let me just keep going.
We see Ellie go to Scar Island for some fucking reason.
Bad.
You watch the after show, they're like, well, you didn't see this in the game, but in our original idea, like Ellie goes to the island for some whatever. But like you could have cut the scene out and
she doesn't discover anything that she didn't already know. She just gets hung and we're gonna do the exact same thing with Abby next season. So
I would think so. Well, yeah.
that's where she finds Lev
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. So it's kind of a big scene. It doesn't make any sense for this to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could make the argument it kind of shows like there's more going on in the island,
Sure,
but like I think you get enough of you see
the wolf's like
the
gearing
wolves
up.
gearing up and like going to
Yeah,
the island on the boats. You see Ellie like on the thing, and there's an explosion in the background. Like obviously that's after she leaves
yeah.
after dealing with them. But you could have gotten all that and still go like, huh, I wonder what's going on over there. Like there was no reason for her to go over there. So that's the only part of this episode I didn't like.
Yeah, like she could have been on the boat. Here's an explosion, turns, sees it on fire, turns back, and then the wave hits her. She's not
Yeah.
paying attention. Like that would have been fine.
I mean, I guess like the timeline wouldn't necessarily work because you just see them go and then she immediately gets on the boat. So like it'd be like, oh, they got to the island
And
like,
then immediately,
12 seconds into getting on the island, there's an explosion.
But we didn't need her going to the
But-
island just so we could see that it gets.
Yeah,
on fire.
I think that was a silly idea.
Mhm.
Like if they did something more interesting with it, maybe.
Yeah,
or just like to establish like, oh, these children are willing to like, yeah, this little like 6-year-old is like, yeah, cut her belly open. Like that's fucked up. But you could also save that for next season. You could have done the same thing. Anywho, Jesse gets shot in the face.
Yeah.
The season ended exactly how I thought it was going to. I was thinking like, what if they are crazy enough to switch it up and kill Tommy? I was wrong. They just stuck to the game, which they made the right decision, I think.
Yeah, because especially if you need to have Ellie get back out there, go to Santa Barbara to get Abby, it wouldn't be Jesse telling her to do that. It has to be Tommy to get her to do that.
But
poor Jesse. He would have been a good dad, a good future leader of Jackson. But hey,
them's the breaks.
Yeah, they should have just left her behind. Fuck Ellie. She's a monster. They grabbed Dina and left and said, Ellie died.
Yeah. Oh, well. Caitlin Deaver having essentially one scene in it, and she's great. Sounded just like how I imagined it.
I
Like
know.
it's like, did they sync up the voices from the game somehow? Like it sounded.
Bella Ramsey sounds just like Ellie in a lot of times, and it's like, wow, they just really casted well on this.
Yeah.
I know she's not super buff or whatever, but
no, I think she's great. And I like that. I don't think maybe I'm wrong because you played the game a lot more recently than I have. Did Isaac say in the game like, "Oh, Abby's supposed to be the future of this army"?
No, I think he does make some sort of allusion like, "You're my number one soldier," and but I don't think he ever says, "I'm leaving it all to you in the will when I die," because it's more of just, "Hey, we have this thing to do. No, you can't go after Owen," and then she just leaves. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I like that because we don't. Obviously, it seems like from the game that Isaac and her have like a closeness, but we never really, I think, established why.
Isaac only has like 2 scenes in the whole game.
It's like the torture scene, and then when he shows up with Abby and Lev.
Yeah, and then dies.
Yeah.
Or at least gets shot.
Yeah.
We don't know 100% that he's dead, but yeah.
But anyway.
But then we end
exactly how I called it earlier this year. I was like, I think it's going to end, and it's going to say Seattle day one. We end at the stadium. The really cool set piece that starts Abby's journey in the game. And so from the looks of it, season 3 will just be pretty much all Abby.
And then this is
which I am all for. Like I don't need Pedro and Bella. Like obviously we're going to get Bella at the end of the season. But I'm happy to explore this character because unlike a bunch of other pieces of shit, I think Abby's a great character in the game. I loved playing as her.
It's more fun. I think her stuff is way more fun.
And I think, her stuff's way more fun. And I think she is... You know what? Anyone listening, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I'm Team Abby. I'll just say that.
Absolutely, yeah. And now that like we can start that season with her already established, and if we do 7 or 8, we got all the time in the world to do every beat from her story. Whereas we really had to rush Ellie. We got all the time in the world. Like you could probably do most of her story in 4 episodes if you really wanted to try. I bet you could do hers in 4.
Ellie's?
Abby's.
Oh, Abby's.
But yeah, I think even with the Santa Monica stuff, there's enough time. That's a single episode at the very end. I'm just wondering, when do we see the farm? Do we?
I think the farm is going to be like the farm is a 30-minute sequence in the game, pretty
Mm,
much, because there's nothing like you're just walking around. You're
yeah,
not just not
herding
doing
the
anything.
sheep or anything.
Yeah. But I think you're going to do an entire episode on the farm.
Yeah. God, that's gonna be a boring episode.
Well, I think
But is that
I
like,
think it'll try and be the like
let's say there's 7 episodes like this season? Is that episode 6? So then we see Abby in episode 5 uh have her fight with Ellie at that one, and then you do 6 the farm, 7 Santa Monica, and then you're done.
no, I think like a big part of the next season will be like all the Seraphite Wolf stuff. Like I could see there just being an episode of
Oh,
here's the flashback episode of like Abby training with the WLF, like the start of maybe not the start of this war, but like how she came to be and more Isaac and stuff, and maybe see some more Seraph. Maybe there's an episode like just dedicated to
just
Lev. Like
yeah.
here's the one episode is the WLF, one episode is the Seraphites.
And it could be the
Um,
same sort of skirmish or whatever, and you just see it from 2 perspectives.
yeah, because obviously the island attack is like a big sequence in the game. So I could see that being like 2 episodes in and of itself. I think like you said, you could probably do Abby's stuff. Like the hospital will be one
Is one
episode.
episode. The
Um,
tower and the crane is one episode.
mhm. So there's definitely ways that you could like make this a full season. I think my theory would be that if you do whatever, you tell Abby's story, it ends with their fight and Abby and Ellie's fight, and then that's maybe it ends kind of like the same way this does, where cuts to Ellie. She's just like you see that there's a farm, but that's all you get. Like you don't get what like the farm stuff until next season, and then
Mm.
maybe the season 4 would open like on the farm. Some
And
time
then we
has
just
passed, and
spend more time with Abby and Lev being tortured by the Rattlers. We would learn a lot more about them because they seem more rapey cannibals
yeah, yeah.
than some of the other
I,
groups.
yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want a 4th season just of like that sequence of the game. It seems unnecessary, but there is like stuff to mine there if you
Sure.
wanted to. And from a business standpoint, like obviously HBO wants to keep the Last of Us
Yeah.
train going,
But if
but
they're doing that, okay, you want to do season 4 and maybe it's only 5 episodes just to cap it off or whatever. You film that shit at the same time as season 3. You work that out.
mhm,
So there's only a 9 to 12 month wait for the next season. Because if you're not, having to actually shoot that whole other season and take 2 years to get it out
yeah,
there.
I mean, you're
Because I don't want to be 52 years old and finally getting to see the end of this show.
yeah, like the thing that was setting you back was Pedro because
Uh-huh.
like his schedule must be like
Ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you have to shoot around all of his bullshit, and he's booked out years in advance at this
Mhm.
point because he's the it guy right now. But like he's gone. You don't. He can come back for a
Yeah.
day or two of shooting, and then you don't have to worry about it. Like you can just film. They should have filmed this season 3 and season 4, like all of the same. Just
Yeah.
kept it going.
You get 2 different, crews going because they're very just different,
Mhm.
and you just have the Abby crew and the Ellie crew, and everyone's just filming at the same time. But what do we know?
Yeah.
We're not money men.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that'd be a ton of money for HBO to spend, and if like season 2 sucked, then they're like, oh, well, why did we spend money on season
Yeah.
3 and 4?
I can see them saying, "No, you're not going to get a season 4. We're getting a lot of negative feedback about this season 2. We'll give you the one more, and you're done.
Mhm.
And then we'll talk if you release another game."
Which I hope. I mean, if they never make another Last of Us game, I'm
That's
okay
fine.
with it. It ends in a way that I'm satisfied with. But would I still like to see Last of Us 3? Of course.
Just reskin that shit and just give me put it in different locations with different creatures. I like the crafting. I like the upgrade system. It's very simple.
Mhm.
Just reskin it and give me a different game. Put it on a spaceship fighting aliens. But I'm still grabbing my scrap and stuff.
They might be doing that with Intergalactic.
Yeah, but that feels more like a combat-y, more Devil May Cry than crouching and shooting.
Yeah, probably.
Like there's punches and weapons in here, but this feels like, flipping up in the air and doing huge uppercuts and stuff.
With a laser sword.
With a laser sword. So
Yeah.
a little bit different.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to play that game.
Yeah.
So, yep. Season ends. Overall, what'd you think of the season, Ben? Did you
All in
like it
all-
more than season one, less than season one?
Season 1, I think, really knew what emotions it wanted to make you feel and really could hone on it in each episode. Um, in this one, they definitely were more open to taking liberties with things, moving timelines, switching characters in and out for different things. So season 1 feels a lot more pure to the first game, even though like there's a whole episode of a character who is so expanded upon that it's
you took an episode like, we're not going to do anything zombie or Joel and Ellie, we're just going to tell a love story between two men, and then it's like, why are you guys going to do that? Why the fuck not?
Why not?
Okay.
Which you would have never I would have never thought to expand that story, just because there's barely any information about the love story between him and some dude. So
and there's real no proof that they were in love in the game anyway.
Yeah, because there's like notes about them like bitching at each other.
Yeah, it's hinted that like they had feelings for each other, but it could have been a friendship feeling. It could have been like, he's the only person I knew for the past 15 years of the apocalypse.
No.
It's like,
they're fucking. We're making them fuck. I love this season, especially for the actual translation of stuff. Like, we watched every episode except for one together, and the whole time is just like the Leo pointing meme. It's just, look at that. Look how good they recreated that thing from the game. So, and especially when it comes to set design, this is amazing. It's one of the best looking shows.
If this show doesn't get any sort of like Emmy nominations for acting or directing or whatever, writing, sure.
So be it.
But if it better win like all the fucking technical awards, because everything on the show looks great. Costuming, set design.
I'd say hair and makeup, like Dina's a little too
hair,
pretty.
yeah.
But everybody else, it's like, I like that Ellie just has like part down the middle, pulled back, like, you ain't making this look nice.
Everyone is like tactical and gross except for Dina. And they're like, we gotta make her hot.
She just seems like maybe one of those girls who she'd find a puddle and wipe off the dirt on her face, and has to keep up appearances.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah, I really like the season 2. I definitely pretty much agree with everything you say. Like, season 1 is more pure to the game. It's more like, I think, singularly focused, where in season 2 they're trying a lot of things, but the world is like very much like the game. The world is so much bigger. There's a lot more moving pieces. And if I wish it wasn't only 7 episodes.
Yeah. Give me a 22 episode season. I'd love it. But it's
or a 14 episode season that's like the first half of the season. Or even if you did like, hey, we're releasing 7 episodes, but in 4 months you get the other 7 episodes. I could live with that. Or that's 6 months, that's fine.
That's fine.
But to have 7 episodes and wait a year plus.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
But they did promise that there'll be more episodes in the next season, and there'll be longer episodes individually. And I'm going to hold them to that. It was a blurb I heard once, but I'm going to hold them to it.
They also said last season, one of the major complaints of season 1 was just like, there wasn't really that much infected stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you're going to get a bunch more infected in season 2.
Yeah.
And that's kind of true.
Like, well, there's 1,000 of them in that one episode. Like, yeah, I don't want 1,000 all at one time. I want 1,000 over 10 episodes.
Yeah, you front loaded all for a big battle, which great episode.
Great.
Fantastic choice. I loved it. But then you have like 2 infected scenes all throughout Seattle. It's like the train stuff, and then the weird stalker stuff.
Yeah.
And am I forgetting?
I mean, there's when they stealth that clicker in like the first episode.
Sure.
There's that, and I think that maybe
that's so small.
I know it's small, but it's a great scene.
It's a clicker and a stalker. I mean, great stuff.
Yeah, because I'm
nitpicking.
Yeah, but there isn't a whole lot. I mean,
but like, I don't necessarily blame them for that either, because like the Wolf and Seraphite stuff is more interesting, but we also didn't really get enough of them to like we got really invest.
A whole section with that little girl and her dad and then they were all slaughtered. I thought we would pop in and get a little more of those sorts of things, just seeing the day to day
Yeah.
with the Seraphites.
Which I imagine that'll be a big part. It's
Yeah,
like we're gonna get all the Wolf stuff, all the Seraphite
yeah.
stuff. Like that's all Abby's storyline.
I
So
would, I
I
would,
think season 3 could be the chance for like people to go and watch this show and go like, know what, season 3 is fucking great
I
because we're getting all
think
the stuff we've always wanted from the season 2.
because people hate Bella Ramsey so much, I can see them having a flip side. Like, so many people hate the game.
Mm-hmm.
They turned it off after Joel died, and how dare you do that? And then they hate this casting that maybe they'll start rooting for Abby in season 3 and they'll get back on board and come to the light and see Abby's not, the bad guy in all this, and we'll have a flip flop
Mm-hmm.
from, game to show.
I like that theory. I also good to see uh, them going like, well, I hate Abby because she killed Joel, and I hate Ellie because she's played by Bella
Yeah.
Ramsey.
Uh huh.
And so I just hate
I
everything.
just don't want anything. I'm
I
gonna
just
watch it, but I'm not gonna
I
like
just
it.
don't. Yeah, I love to hate on things.
Yeah.
Just like stuff. It's so much better.
It's fine.
But yeah, I'm excited for season 3. I just wish it wasn't so far.
4.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But I hope Bella Ramsey gets a Emmy.
Yeah.
I think at least get a nomination because I think she's great this
She's
season.
really
Like
good.
she's got so many scenes where she has to like break down and cry. But yeah, if she's not like in the audience and they're like announcing her name in that clip from like the porch of her
Oh
and
yeah.
Pedro, like they should both be like. I would love it if they both won, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and they should accept at the same time. I know they're
Yep.
different categories. Somehow they should get them up there.
Yep. Yep.
And he says kiddo, and everyone's like, "Woo, he said the thing!" Anyway, Last of Us season 2, thumbs up.
Yep. You want to get to our main topic?
Yeah, we're only what 20 minutes in.
Hour.
Oh, okay.
All right. This week's new. This week's. Fuck me, God. This week's big release, besides Lilo and Stitch, that we did not see, and I'm glad I didn't see it this weekend because the 2 times I went to the theater, this place was packed. There were so many kids out. Um, Lilo and Stitch is in a bunch of theaters, and I just know it'd be a loud, annoying time. So we saw Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, number 8.
The 8th entry in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Wow. This series is hard for me because I was just thinking, well, what's my ranking? And then I realized I've only seen all these movies one time and
Hmm.
never went back to them. Even though they do have these spectacular stunts and they're some of the best action, spy, espionage movies out there, I never really gave a shit to go
Hmm.
back. Like, I like this way better than Bourne. Like, Bourne is nothing.
Hmm.
I do not care for that series. Bond, not really my thing either. Mission Impossible, really good, fun movies.
Yeah.
But never ever wanted to rewatch any of them. So I don't know if I could rank them. I just know Fallout's my favorite. Because when did I see 2? When it was in theaters. Like I never went back to 2. Oh, actually, did I see 2 in theaters? I think maybe I skipped it and I saw
Hmm.
3 in theaters. But yeah, I like this is not a franchise near and dear to my heart. That it's over, cool. I'm fine with that. Is it really over? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I know Nick loves this series, and I feel like you care more about it than I do.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think actually the first Mission Impossible movie I ever saw was 3. Um, I was, I think, like 6 or something when the first one came out. And honestly, to this day, I don't know if I've actually ever seen 2.
Oh,
I've
really?
seen like parts of it, but I don't know if I've sat down and watched it from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I remember watching 3 and going like, man, Mission Impossible fucking kicks ass. Like I really liked it. And then I don't know if I went back and watched 1 after 3 or if I watched 4 and I was like, maybe I should go back and watch those older ones. But pretty much ever since I started watching the Mission Impossible movies, I've enjoyed them, and I think I've seen all of them except for 2, at least twice, maybe.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I saw Dead Reckoning once,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think these movies are a ton of fun. And obviously, the things you compare them to are Bond and Bourne and stuff, but theirs are different vibes.
Yeah.
Like there's been 7+ Bonds. I really right?
It.
No, actors.
Oh, I thought you meant movies. Like, I think they're at their 25
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
No. But like I've only ever seen the Daniel Craig ones, and the Daniel
Sure.
Craig ones I really like. But they do, while they're fun, they're also more serious. Where
Hmm.
this one
And I
is,
think they vary in quality
yeah, they're kind of.
way more than Mission
But
Impossible.
Mission Impossible, pretty much across the board, I think, are all good, solid movies.
Hmm.
People might argue two is not good, but we'll just put that one aside.
Yep.
But yeah, I really like this franchise. I like Tom Cruise in this. I don't think I can see anyone else. Like I can see them continuing on the Mission Impossible franchise with a new actor,
Hmm.
but I don't. Me personally, I don't want that.
Yeah. Like
'Cause
they tried with Jeremy Renner, right? He was in one of the Mission Impossibles.
he was in one, and they thought. I think there was like rumor, like, oh, they're bringing him in as
Because Tom Cruise
like
is too old to
if he
continue
if this
this.
works well,
Yeah.
then we'll do Renner.
And they tried to do that with Bourne as well.
Yeah. Um, Renner's just the
Oh,
guy.
Renner, you just you're brought in to save a series, but they say no, we don't need you. We got the original guy
Yeah.
still.
But I think Tom Cruise is great, and like every movie, it's giving you the same thing. It's the ticking clock. This thing's gonna destroy the Earth. He's been disavowed again for the
Again,
seventh time.
yep.
How's he gonna like stop the bad guy
But at
without
least
any of
this
his
time they
resources?
say like, you're the best guy we've ever fucking got, and we owe you such a debt, and it's because you don't follow the rules. It's like
Yeah,
at least they're aware.
yeah. And a part of this movie was just like. Uh, all these people in power who are like trying to do good and make the right decisions, but there's so much political red tape that they have to cut around, or like they have to like, are we willing to sacrifice or risk it because this country might not feel that
Hmm.
way? Where like I like that Tom Cruise and his team are just like, we don't give a shit about any country. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we work for the U.S. We have access to like U.S. stuff, but the U.S. can fuck off. We're here to
Hmm.
like care
Same
about
people.
everybody,
Yeah.
and I really like that from them because the previous movies never really like established that. You kind of got that like Tom Cruise just wants to save the world. That's all he
Yeah.
cares about, but it's never just like. It just seems like that's their mission now. Is like we do missions for human beings,
Hmm.
not America,
Yeah.
which I like that take. Um, but anyway, this movie was
Fine.
fine. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like grossly worse or anything than the other
No.
ones. I'd say it's online. I'd probably but put it like middle lower of the pack. But there's some great fucking set pieces. Like the back half of this movie, I think is
Yeah.
really kicks in. The first half is
First
like
half is
a lot of setup and like
like
hopping from this place to this place to this place to this
I think
place.
the first half is a bad movie. I think they rely too much on, oh, no, not enough people saw the last one, so we got to catch you up. And we got to really make it seem like this was the goal from the beginning and tie in all these characters. And, oh, you remember that MacGuffin that he
Mm.
stole that he didn't know what it could do? Well, actually, it's part of this story now. It felt like they felt they needed to put all this in to make it seem
Like the
like
culmination
of
of
everything.
Ethan Hunt's
And if
work.
anything, it just drags this out. They repeat themselves so many times with what the mission is, what the mission was that they just did, and it's kind of boring. There's a fun little fight, but then it just goes on and on and on and on. And I think they really could have started this movie him getting in that sub.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, there's maybe a little bit of setup, but like, oh, we don't know where the sub is, and we got to find this, and we got to send this marker. It's just there's so many plates spinning at one time that
Yeah.
it becomes so exhausting. And then the ticking clock is always a thing, but even in Fallout, they're like, you gotta press these buttons at the same time on one right before it hits zero, otherwise it will blow up. And of course, they hit it within fractions of a second. And then this one, it's the same thing. You gotta snip a wire and unplug this within a blink of an eye. It was a little too similar to some
All
of
of
the
them.
things I've seen. Um, but that second half is way more engaging
Yeah.
because your two major set pieces are so damn impressive.
The actually the very beginning of this movie I did not like, mainly because it became fucking cartoonish.
Mm.
So Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise get captured by Gabriel, and it's like, oh, they're going to torture her because he knows that torture won't work on Tom
Yeah.
Cruise. And then Tom Cruise fakes a cyanide pill and gets up and beats the bad guys. But it
What was
does.
in that pill? Was it just like Alka-Seltzer?
Probably, yeah.
It's
Um,
like, oh shit, wait, is it the left tooth that's the Alka-Seltzer and the right one is the cyanide? Yeah, better just do them.
and in between missions, does he take the cyanide pill out or does he just
Yeah,
have it on him at all
just in
times?
case he eats a hard piece of candy or popcorn and bites onto
Damn
that
it!
kernel. Yeah.
No,
Or maybe
but
he turns it around. It's like you could screw it on, screw it off, and it like activates it. So, something like that.
sure. That's how that works. But no, so they have this fight sequence in the beginning, which is going fine, and I'm thinking nothing of it. But then it you just hear grunts and action off screen. And Haley
Yeah.
Atwell's face is like, oh my goodness!
Yeah.
It's like, am I in a different fucking franchise?
Uh-huh.
What is this? It seems so stupid.
Yeah. And you cut back and they're all in weird positions like Family Guy characters who fell down the stairs.
It's a classic go-to gag and stuff. But it just seemed so out of place in this franchise. I know this is the fun franchise, so they can be a little bit sillier.
But it felt
but
like
it also
Hot Shots.
takes itself seriously. So it just seems so weird and out of place.
You should turn back and there's chicken feathers in the air and there's a guy with a pot stuck on his head and he can't, it's a comedy sort of thing. What's that crazy stuff? And you hear a clown horn honking while they're fighting. It should be that.
Yeah.
I like that fight until that happened.
Yeah, and then I was like, I hope this isn't what the rest of the movie's going to be, and it wasn't.
Yeah. And maybe it was none of the shots look good in that fight, but we did hold on her and got as many takes as we can, so we could do it in post.
Sure.
Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, who knows? But then we get to the movie always opens with an action sequence, and then the credits start, and you get the music. But man, I thought I was gonna have an epileptic seizure.
Yeah.
It was such an attack on the eyeballs, the opening credits sequence of and which I felt I don't think I've ever felt before in a Mission Impossible movie, because it was just oh, here's all 7 previous movies, and it's all flashing really fast.
And then here's the actors.
And the music's blasted, the whole thing. I was like, I don't have epilepsy, but I felt this is been bothering me really bad.
I was in theater 12. I was in the second row, and that was killing me because it's when you're up so close. You see everything, and it was an assault. And luckily, I was distracted because right around that time, that's about a half hour into the movie, there's this old couple comes in, 3 of them, carrying a oxygen tank too, and they're just I think someone's in our spot, and there's 2 people sitting in their spot, and they make these young kids get up and leave, but. Not only are you a half hour into the actual movie, you're an hour after the start time. Just go to the next showing. You're some of the crucial exposition has already been said, and then the whole time I'm just hearing her oxygen machine just oh my god, can I get an explosion to cover this up? It's
just die already.
I had them, and then I had a guy to the right, just every 45 seconds, just oh my god, clear your throat and watch the. I was not having a good time, but
anywho, I don't even really remember what happens in the first.
They say Palm Clementif and then that black guy who I don't remember from any other movies. I'm assuming he was in the last one.
I think so. He was he was partners with Shea Wiggum.
Okie dokie, if you say so. And then they were talking about the president's son, and they even showed a picture, but I wasn't really paying attention to who it was. I was like, oh, is that her son? That'd be kind of fun. Her son's on this crazy mission doing. Yeah. I'm like, oh no, that's not it either. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't remember him at all.
Yeah, no, he's just someone they decided hey, let's throw him in with a team.
Hey, Shea Wiggum needs a partner.
Jeremy Renner didn't work out.
Yeah,
we'll throw this guy in there.
Yeah, they rescue them. We get our mask reveal. I think it's the only mask reveal in the whole thing, but you gotta have at least one because I think that's in 2. That's a great drinking game. Anytime someone pulls off a mask, take a drink because they do it. It's just mask on mask on mask. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
They knew what they had as a gimmick and said people love the masks. Got to put the masks in.
It'd be funny if they did one where Tom Cruise, like, they pull off his face and it's Simon Pegg, and then it's like, okay, he's not the guy we're looking for, and they walk away, and then Simon Pegg pulls off the face, and it's Tom Cruise under a Simon Pegg
under another mask. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done a mask on a mask.
Like, wow, I didn't think that would work.
If they do, let us know. Yeah, that'd be funny seeing someone like small like Simon Pegg, but he's got like these big faces on. Like, oh, did you eat shellfish or something? What? Why is your head so fucking big?
I mean, that's one of those cartoon gags I would hate it if it was in the actual movie, but it's funny to think about.
I have my Chang hair under my Dean cap, and then I have my Winger hair on top of that. I'm literally dying.
That's one of my favorite lines ever delivered. Just how he says it is the best. Anywho, we're not talking about Community. We're talking about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So yes, let's talk about the submarine sequence. I hate the cliche of, oh, we're heading towards a cliff. I did not care for that aspect of it, but I understand why it's there because it made everything that's happening in the sub better.
Yeah.
But man, this whole 10-minute sequence of this movie or whatever it was, I was fucking tight, man.
Yeah.
This was a horror show. And there wasn't anything necessarily scary, but from the moment those doors open and then it's just the open abyss of the ocean, but there's also like a giant submarine monster in front of you. Like, this is so fucking scary.
Yeah, him holding on because if he lets go, he'll get sucked up with the blades. Just having missiles bouncing around there, blocking your eyes. It felt like a video game sequence, but it just looked so good when you fix your camera down and you rotate it, and then the water is like up on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
awesome stuff.
Just really beautiful cinematography and really fun. I always hate. There's so much talk about you're being the pressure and getting the bends and you're not gonna survive and but we have a specialty suit and a specialty thing that the one dude with glasses and his wife had. Like, why did they have that decompression machine? Or it was like a tent.
Yeah.
And why did they have it?
Science? I don't know.
I could understand it. Like, he didn't jump out of a plane with it.
The team brought it. It wasn't at the station. It was on the plane with them. They brought it solely because they knew he would have to do it.
Okay. But all that talk, and then it's like, he's going to survive. They could just not mention it and just say, it's really cold. Make sure you have this on, otherwise you'll freeze. And you don't even have to talk about the pressure and stuff because it doesn't matter anyways. And you just make the tent, it's a heating tent, and, because it was more about him getting that suit off because it got hung up on stuff and he's freezing cold. And it seemed like that was more of an issue than the pressure thing. So I don't know. It's a stupid thing that just adds so much more.
I think you kind of have to do it because
if you don't, everyone goes, oh, he's really going to survive that. Yeah, no, I get it. But he's Ethan Hunt. He can do these things. He held his breath for 15 minutes in that one?
Well, that was one thing. I was part of it when he gets out of the submarine and he's in the ocean with no oxygen tank, and he's he's down hundreds of feet and he's having to swim back up to the surface, and I'm like, this motherfucker's not gonna make it. This is stupid. But then I was like, oh wait, he did do that stunt where he held his breath for a very long time. Of course, Tom Cruise could actually do this.
He could actually do that.
So I actually didn't bother me.
And I didn't mind the rolling on the cliff. I think it added.
No, it was necessary, but I just
wish it blew up. It rolled off the edge. All those torpedoes are clanging around in there. There was no explosion. Come on!
I mean, it wouldn't have worked because it would have killed Tom Cruise. But I imagine that in another kind of movie, it would have exploded and the pressure breaks through the ice and is able to save him. Yep. In a weird way.
Or it's like their tracking thing doesn't work. Where did he go? And then they pick up on sonar. There was a huge explosion. They know where to go now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shot of him in the tube and the submarine is just tailing them was so scary.
So scary.
It could have been a shark or anything else, and that also would have been scary. But just this nose of a submarine.
The whole time I'm watching this, this is so many people's. This is 8 different phobias all in one sequence of just
drowning, tight spaces,
nothingness,
open water.
Open water. Whatever that megalophobia is. Because the submarine just being this big submarine monster I think is so scary. You know, him coming out of the water and there's dead bodies. Like the sequence is legitimately kind of scary.
Yeah.
Not in a horror way, but in a like, if this was happening to you, you would fucking just die of fear because it's so scary.
Everything it's more like primordial, like built into who we are is like, yeah, you should be scared of a tight space because you may suffocate, or the ocean, or predators and stuff. It's not like I have a fear of clowns because I'm an idiot, you know. Yeah, it's just way more effective than if it's a pit of snakes.
Yeah. And like no dialogue the entire time.
Yeah, he says one thing, just like torpedo chute, something like that, or exit port.
Yeah, when he got into the torpedo thing, I didn't understand like how he was gonna get out.
Yeah,
because obviously water wasn't coming in, and it didn't look like there was like a thing. It just seemed like he was just like smashing his.
Yeah,
like
I think it's a simple seal that would, or like a magnet lock that when you hit ignition, it just pops open.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how.
I don't know enough about submarines. Yeah. I'm not like, but I was. It's like, how's he gonna get? I thought like, is he gonna somehow hit a button and it's gonna shoot him out like a missile? Like that doesn't make sense. But yeah, that fantastic sequence. Probably my favorite sequence in the movie.
Yes, I think the plane sequence at the end is really, really good.
It's impressive because it's all there.
Yes,
but
more
we've seen it before.
Practical. Kind of. I think we've seen him hanging from a plane before, and like I can kind of believe a lot more of what he did in the water than what he could do in the air. I just think the centrifugal force of a plane going upside down would just launch him off. I don't care how you cross your ankles around that wire, Tom. You're not staying on.
So he gets the shit from the
yada. The plot is dumb and stupid. It's AI thing, and you gotta plug it in at this time because it's gonna get into this server, but it's gonna launch it. All that shit doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I mean, another fun drinking game. Anytime they say the entity, because they say it a lot.
Yeah,
and it's so weird that like the final boss of Mission Impossible is an AI thing that isn't like, you know, it's a bad guy. Like it works because it's like what do we like just a bad guy who's gonna push a button and launch all the nukes. We've seen that done a million times. And then,
but you can't punch AI in the face.
But you can't punch AI in the face.
So that's what you got to have.
Then you have Gabriel, who is of like all the Mission Impossible villains, probably the one I like the least.
He's annoying.
Once again, don't remember. You know, John. It's been a long time since I saw Mission Impossible 1. Don't remember John Voight. Don't remember the villain of 2 because I don't think I saw 2. But like, my guess is that.
Oh, he was going to be Wolverine at one time.
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck is his name?
Daniel Radcliffe?
No, he was in Ever After with Drew Barrymore as well. Ooh, it keeps coming to the tip of my tongue.
I don't know who this person is. If
say the name.
Doug Ray Scott?
Oh, yeah, Doug Ray Scott, yeah. He was going to be Wolverine, but he got held up in Mission Impossible 2. Tom Cruise wouldn't let him out because they had reshoots, so they got Hugh Jackman. Doug Ray Scott could have been the next big thing, who knows?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's him, and then you got Philip Seymour Hoffman, then you got frickin'
I fucking love Philip Seymour Hoffman.
And he's great.
He's awesome.
You get Henry Cavill.
Probably the best opening sequence in a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the torture scene, great stuff.
Henry Cavill, then that weird blonde guy with the really like bony face. He's in a couple of them. He's the guy in Fallout. He's working with Henry Cavill.
Right.
I don't remember his name, but he's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you got this guy who's just like, you should see him on a yacht with, you know, bikini babes, drinking.
Very handsome man.
Yeah,
but it's just like he's wasn't he like a former MIF agent? And he's like, that's why he's like, you know, he's the antithesis to Ethan Hunt because he knows all of his moves and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's just like, that's such a boring villain trope, which I get it, but he's not an exciting villain to be around.
Yeah.
Especially when like you have this thing that's actually like the real villain of the movie. You're just kind of like a henchman, but it gives us a villain that we can punch.
Yeah.
And
propeller to the face.
Or propeller to the face, which part of me is like the comedian or the comedy lover in me goes like, oh, what a fun way to kill
I
him
laughed
off.
so hard. I was the only one that laughed in my theater. There was a lot of oohs and but I laughed.
Because it always has to be like some sort of like the villain's hubris got the
yeah,
better of him and like didn't recognize that his necktie was near the propeller
yeah,
or like, oh, he's, you know, so it was kind of funny how he goes because he's like, oh, I'll see you next time, Ethan, and then
yeah,
you know, propelled to the back of the head. But it also just seemed like so cartoony and stupid. I was
yeah.
just like, that's really how you're gonna like beat the bad guy at the
If,
end.
if that happened to Ethan Hunt, he would have just like hit it on his chest and went ooh because it would have been like played as like he got hit in the balls.
Mhm.
This guy got it like wedged right in his face and killed him instantly. Oh fuck! I gotta.
But
Yeah, he's the worst. I don't like him.
Yeah.
I wish they could have found someone a little more fun.
yeah, I mean, I think at least that sequence is fun and cool. That you know, not just. I saw that it wasn't just Tom Cruise doing it. Like that guy playing Gabriel, he was also like doing all of the
He
stuff.
did all of his own
He
stuff
did,
up there. Wow.
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
And because I mean, it was just because there's two cockpits in those things. It was just there was a pilot there who was flying the plane while they were both doing their fighty stuff. They just CGI'd him out. But
That's cool.
yeah, it's really cool sequence, but it just seems so close to the helicopter one we got with Cavill and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, but I like that. It's like, how do we get away from the thing that controls all technology? We're like, oh, well, we have planes that fly without.
Yeah, we got to use
computers.
biplanes.
Biplanes. I was like, oh, okay, that's a good reason to use that.
But then he's like, and I brought a second one just in case. And like, he brought a second one so Ethan Hunt could chase you for this movie. Why'd you need a second one?
Well, he said I brought a second one just in case, but like his other henchman had it. So it's like, did you bring it for your henchman or did you just bring it because in the off? Like, when he said that line, it just seems so out of place because you'd be like, well, why did he have two planes?
Yeah.
But it's just because I'm always prepared. It just seems silly.
Okay, one doesn't work. Well, we could get into this other one, and it's a two-seater, so we're fine. But they're both working. Well, I'm not going to waste a good plane.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it with us.
And I think they probably do it in like all the Mission Impossible movies. Like Tom Cruise has to run somewhere, and it seems like he should be far away from the thing that he's doing. And it happens like twice in this movie where, like Gabriel gets away in the beginning, and Tom Cruise is like, Ving Rhames, and then has to like run across the city to get to him, where it's like, I bet you could have found a car you could have hijacked or like hotwired to get there faster.
Yeah.
Like there's no way
you gotta show it off, though.
Like luckily you were like within running distance to this thing, I guess.
Sure. They would never write it to be out of running distance because he needs to run in this movie.
Because he needs to run, yeah. But it just seemed a little, I was like, okay, whatever. You know, there was no real run. Like it's not like he knew I only have 3 minutes to get there. Yeah. But then at the end of the movie, we have 20 minutes to stop Gabriel before this bomb goes off. And then it's actually like at the 14-minute mark when they finally like break up to go do the thing. And I would imagine maybe it's all like happening in relative real time. Maybe. But like it just seemed like a lot of stuff was happening for 14 minutes. Yeah. Like this was like the longest 14 minutes I've ever seen. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I'd give it a solid B. I like that Haley Atwell kind of was the one to do the final mission. Yeah, like she's the one who really saved the world. I mean, obviously they all played their parts. My only real complaint is like I wanted there to be more finality to the ending. Yeah, well, I thought
they were going to kill him off. His parachute burned. He didn't have anything else, and that was the new ticking clock. Get the thing in the thing before you hit the ground, and then after he does it, he could like take a sigh and then just hits the ground. You don't have to show it or anything. Just let him die.
Because I like that exchange. Him and Ving Rhames are kind of like the only two guys who've been in all the movies, and Ving Rhames dies in this one. He kind of like not really sacrifice himself. He just kind of like. He just makes the bomb less explosive.
Yeah, he was going to die no matter what.
He's going to die no matter what. Because you need some emotional weight to this movie. So losing his best friend would be the thing that does it.
And, he if you notice, like, especially in the last one, Ving Rhames, like, doesn't stand or walk or do anything in these movies. I think he's just, like, an older guy. Things are getting to him and he can't do those anymore. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, we're going to be globe-trotting and stuff. Let's just kill Ving Rhames. He's just sitting anyways.
But I liked that he's like, hey, bud, like, don't worry about it. This is the life that we chose, and we sit like all the lives we've saved, like, but I always knew I was gonna die, like, on a
Mm-hmm.
mission. It's our
Yeah,
destiny.
that's what we do.
It's what we do. So, like, if this was the final one, this would be the one to kill Tom Cruise. Like, that's why I really appreciate the last Bond film, because they actually killed James Bond.
Yeah.
uh so
And Benji is having his issues, and they had to put the straw in, and then he does the dramatic head flop over. Oh, he's dead too, and like, oh, this would be good. Just kill off the main three,
mhm.
and really have some finality to it. And then if you needed to, reboot the series later on, you still have other characters you can bring in, like, oh yeah, I knew Ethan Hunt, blah blah blah. But like to fake out death Benji and then not kill Ethan Hunt, I don't know. I
Yeah,
one more needed
the Benji
to
stuff
go.
also, like, I get why they were kind of playing it for laughs, but
Hmm.
um like, if you're gonna spare anybody, like, I guess have Benji, but then you kill Tom Cruise,
Yes, one
and
or
then
the
you
other.
go like, hey, I'm the new leader of the MIF or whatever, and Haley Atwell officially joins the team.
Hmm.
The detective security guy who
Yeah,
joined in this
Palm
movie,
Clemente.
Palm Clemente, like, they all become the
Yeah,
new crew, and you don't ever have to make that movie, but it's like,
sure.
their missions will continue.
Yeah,
But it just ends with all of them in a crowded street, and then they all look at each other and they all go their separate ways, which, like, works for the most part. And the whole past two movies is just, like, so sexually charged between Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise,
yeah.
and, like,
And they don't end up
they
together.
don't do anything. And I think Tom Cruise just, like, doesn't do
No.
sex stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Um, Not like, but just like,
That's not the
romance.
image he
Yeah,
wants.
romance is not of interest to
Yeah.
him in his movies anymore. Um, but so that always felt weird, of just like, these two are gonna be together, like they're sharing the decompression chamber, they look lovingly into each other, but then
Hmm.
they just, like, walk away from each other.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of this movie also was, okay, if we get the entity, then the bad guy, if he gets the entity, he can use it to control the world. And Tom Cruise is like, well, we need to destroy it. And Haley Atwell was like, well, what if we had it? We could make the world a better place. And Tom Cruise is like, no one should have that much power. And
Hmm.
that's what makes or Ethan Hunt better than everybody,
Yep.
because he doesn't care about power or political lines or whatever. He cares about the human race and the world. And so at the end, she hands it to him like, look, we had this thing. What do you want to do with it? I thought it was going to be him stepping on it and then walking away, and that would
Yep.
have worked. But he kept
Keeps
it.
it. Yeah.
And then that just makes you go like, and then the movie ends and everyone's alive except for Ving Rhames. It's like, so are there going to be more?
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed, as for a final movie, it doesn't seem super final. And that's why I
Yeah.
don't like, just step on the entity and
Kick it into the water or into the sewer, and then
walk away,
yeah,
whatever.
and then she like take her hand and walk off together.
Yeah. Or maybe he's like, she goes in for a kiss and is like, hey, uh, my heart's somewhere else. And then we see him find Michelle Monaghan again. And maybe it's
Because she's
like,
not dead, right? They didn't kill
no,
her.
no, no.
Okay.
Um,
They kind of implied that she did die in one of them.
I don't think so.
Like in the flashbacks, it just seemed like I was looking at stuff that was like, oh, this isn't super familiar to me. Did they kill her and I didn't notice? But
Well, she was in 3.
she was
Then
in Fallout.
yeah, and then they, like, separated in 4, and they didn't talk about it in 5, whatever it was. And she came back for Fallout.
But she wasn't in Dead Reckoning,
But then
was
she
she?
wasn't in Dead and Reckoning. Um, so it's just one of those things, like, she was always there,
Hmm.
but I don't think they've ever killed her off. I could be wrong. Maybe Gabriel did say in the last movie, like, oh yeah, I killed your wife, and it makes me more evil. Ha ha
Yeah,
ha.
yeah.
But I don't think so.
I miss
Um,
Rebecca Ferguson.
yeah, Rebecca Ferguson was sweet. But I also like that the series did kill off characters.
Yeah,
Killed off Rebecca Ferguson. Maybe they killed off Jeremy Renner. They
maybe.
never said it. But, like, what happened to Paula Patton? What happened to
Yeah.
the guy from The Tudors and August Rush? Jonathan Rhys something or other?
Davies?
No, that's Gimli. But his name's something like that.
John Reese Myers? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're right. Maggie Q.
Yeah.
What's she been up to?
Yeah.
Did they all just get different assignments? Did they quit? Because it seems like if you don't see them die, you can assume that they're not in MIF anymore. So why couldn't Ethan Hunt just be like, hey, man, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too old. I'm out the game now. So then he can just be married and fuck off. And
Yeah.
like that's the ending. And
And
then
then
the
if
teen continues.
and if you want to reboot it in 15 years when he's
You Top Gun
70,
Maverick it and say like,
yeah,
hey, we're bringing you out of retirement to teach these new up and comings what's what.
or he's just in a cabin with his wife, or probably by then you got to kill the wife because you can't show an old lady in a movie anymore. Um, so then he's in a cabin and he's just like, oh, I gave that up a long time ago, and like, oh, but so and so from your past is back, and it'll be this whole new thing that was never touched
Yeah.
upon.
We need you, Ethan, if you choose to accept it.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby. I'm thinking I'm back.
There's got to be a Mission Impossible porn parody, right? Because like his name is perfect to be Eaton Cunt. Right? It's like missionary position impossible. It's one of those. But there's got to be, right? I mean, Ethan Hunt, Eaton Cunt, it's just perfect.
Yeah, it's there. Like slides down a thing, and it's like I was gonna say she's sleeping. She can't let her know I'm inside her, but that's awful.
That's bad.
That's
No,
awful.
like he comes in and it's like I'm eating cunt, and you're like, not yet, you aren't, and then goes right into it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Ethan, you gotta save me. This bomb's attached to me, but the only way to defuse it is with your tongue in my vagina. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you could have really fun scenes of them like they're doing it, and he pulls off a mask, and then you just have a different sex worker doing it, and then she pulls off her mask, so then you could have like multiple guys and girls in the same scene that's supposed to seem like they're the same people.
We're getting off track.
I know. I just
but there's something there. Anywho, I think I was gonna make a point about something or other, but all in all, Mission Impossible franchise, I'm gonna give a B plus overall. This movie, I'm just gonna give a B. And as sad as it is, to see it go. I think it's ending on its own terms.
Yeah.
And I've been told that all these movies are getting more expensive, but getting less in return.
Yeah.
So it's just like, let's not tank this franchise. Yeah. The only other last remark I'd like to say is, I think this is the most skin I've ever seen of Tom Cruise. Okay. And it's like throughout the movie, he's like
just in his underwear.
Like in the submarine scene, he's like in his underwear. In the opening scene where he's fighting, his like shirt's getting ripped off.
Yeah.
For a 60-plus-year-old man, dude looks fucking great.
I'm sure he's like, this is my last chance to show how buff I am, because I'm never gonna do. I could see him not doing any action movie ever again and just doing simpler roles.
Yeah. I mean, at this stage in his career, it's like I'm going to like direct and do like real hard drama stuff now. He hasn't
directed yet. I mean, I hear he kind of directs these anyways.
Yeah.
But why hasn't he just taken a step away from the acting and do directing?
Maybe it's just not in him. There's plenty of actors who never direct. It's
sure, but we're hearing so much about how he is so involved in the making of these movies that he is pretty much like a co-director. Why not take something on?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. And it seems like he really cares about story. Like I was listening to a thing of Quentin Tarantino talking about Top Gun Maverick, and he's like, I know Tom a little bit, and I ran into him one day, and he's like, and it was before the movie came out, and I was just like, Tom, how can you do this movie without Tony Scott? And he's like, I know, like I didn't think I could, and that's why I said no all these years, because I couldn't imagine myself doing it without Tony. And then he's like, but then Joseph showed me the script, and it's a really good story, so I wanted to do it. Like, he just cares about making good movies. So good for Tom Cruise. It just seems like I want to tell good stories. Like, why wouldn't I just?
He was also one of those actors who, when The Flash came out, was like one of the greatest comic book movies ever created. Not only one of the best comic book movies, one of the greatest movies. Like, him and Spielberg and all these people were just like going nuts because it was, post-COVID, trying to get people on board with this movie that got pushed back.
Then I can't really blame for that if it's just I'm lying about a good story to get people to go to the movies. Like, he cares about that, so.
But don't do it on a piece of shit like The Flash.
Yeah, but I appreciated him shouting out Sinners, because that movie's fucking sweet.
Yeah. Like, if he was talking about Black Bag and was like, dude, if you guys like my movies, it's like that. Just no hanging off an airplane,
None of the fun stuff.
I would. Where would you rank this? Because like Fallout's my number one, probably Rogue Nation's number two, and then yada yada yada. I'd say
I'd really
everything three and after is above this. I think the bottom three are one, two, and eight. I don't think it's the worst one, but it's my bottom three.
Let me see. I feel like we're kind of in the same boat. Last I'd go two, then one, then this. No, well, yeah. Then Dead Reckoning probably.
Oh yeah.
Then I'd say, oof, I guess Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation.
Then three. Then Fallout.
Like it's been so long since I've seen three, but I just remember like really loving three. It's got the best villain. There's some really good stuff in it. Really good action sequence, like the bridge scene
where he gets blown sideways.
Yeah. So fucking cool. Him like doing that 8 minute long run sequence down in like with a tracking shot down like Shanghai, wherever the fuck he is. Like really, like I think I have such a fond like even though Fallout's probably a better film, I have such a fondness for three. So I'm gonna say Fallout number two, and then Mission Impossible 3 number one.
Okay.
Because I think Mission Impossible 3 is where the franchise. I mean, 4 is where I think McQuarrie took over, and then it became like this is what it is now. But I think
3 dipped its toe.
Yeah, 3 was the bridging piece, and it really showed what this franchise could be. Because I think the first two kind of took themselves a little bit more seriously.
That first one was so damn confusing when I was a kid.
We're spy movies, but this one's like, no, we're an action movie that involves spies. I think 3 is just fucking badass all the way through. So 3 is my favorite Mission Impossible movie.
All right. Well, what is next week? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not at all, Benjamin.
The big release. Well, there's two. Bring Her Back from the guys who did Talk to Me, and the Karate Kid Legends.
I want to see both of them.
I feel like you have to see Karate Kid to finish out your whole arc. I don't want to see Karate Kid.
No, I know we'd be more. Bring Her Back looks really scary, and I'm not pumped to see it. But I'm also like,
you like good filmmaking.
I like good filmmaking, so I don't want to see it and go like, yeah, this is. I'm hoping it's gonna be really good, but I'm just like, man, that movie like fucked me up because I don't like being scared. I'm a big old scaredy cat. I think Karate Kid Legends looks fun, but I don't think it's gonna be like a good movie.
But that kid, man, not only we were talking about he was in that Long Walk movie, he's also going to be in the new Hunger Games movie. This kid is having quite a year.
Came out of nowhere now is just in a bunch of stuff.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So, Bring Her Back or Karate Kid, we'll figure it out. I know you said you're going to be gone 1 week. Is that going to affect it? It's the 30th that those things come out. When are you out of town?
June, like 23rd to the 27th or something.
Okay, towards the end. All right, sounds good. All right, well, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming. All right, this week's fuck me, God.